Good evening and welcome to the Ysleta Independent School District's meeting of the Board of Trustees. The meeting of the Board of Trustees is a meeting of the board that the public is allowed to attend. As provided, Ysleta ISD Policy BED, we invite members of the public to make comments during the citizens' input portion at the start of the meeting according to the instructions provided with the electronic posting notice of our meeting. Legally, the board may listen but may not enter into discussion on matters in citizens' input. We remind everyone that this is a board meeting often attended by students and ask that we all conduct ourselves in a manner that best represents the values and traditions of the Ysleta Independent School District. This meeting of the Board of Trustees is called to order at 6:01 p.m. We have a quorum with Shane Haggerty, Chris Hernandez, Charlie Bustillos, Mike Dwyer, Connie Woodruff, and myself, Cruz Ochoa. Trustee Lucero is unable to join us and is considered excused. It has become a tradition to honor our nation at each of our board meetings by presenting the colors, reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and then posting the colors. The colors tonight are presented by the JROTC Color Guard from Del Valle High School. The Color Guard commander is Cadet Command Sergeant Major Kane Reyes. The other Color Guard members are Cadet Captain Dulce Jaime, Cadet Master Sergeant Oscar Escobar, Cadet Sergeant First Class Abraham Castorena, and pledge leader is Cadet Colonel Leslie Zambrano. Will you please stand for the presentation of colors, the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance, the Texas Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. Please remain standing until the cadets have departed.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now please join me in the Pledge of the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God and one indivisible. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Dr. De La Torre, do we have recognitions and introductions this evening?
Yes, good evening, President Ochoa, members of the board, esteemed guests. We do, and I'd invite our Chief Human Capital Management Officer, Ms. Bobby Russell Garcia, to lead in our recognitions and introductions this evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. De La Torre. We have one recognition for you this evening. At this time, we ask all trustees to please come to the front of the dais for the presentation. Audience members, please remain seated until the recognitions are complete. Thank you. Every January, we proudly honor the hardest working volunteers in the district, our Board of Trustees. The board consists of 7 elected citizens who work with community leaders, students, families, and educators to support student achievement. Board members are strong advocates for public education. They devotedly work to create the educational environment we want for our students. We deeply value the guidance, commitment, and dedication they bring to Ysleta Independent School District. At this time, we will invite students from each learning community to present their trustee with a gift basket and give personal words of appreciation. We will start from my left to right. First, we have the Area 4 trustee representing the Eastwood area, Mr. Mike Dwyer. Will you please step forward? Representing Eastwood High School tonight are Student Body President Jacob Beckett and Vice President Stephanie Moreno. They are accompanied by Eastwood Middle School student Genesis Bauman and Eastwood Heights Elementary School student Ariana Alvarado.
Hello, my name is Jacob Beckett, and I'm the proud Student Body President at Eastwood High School. Robert Greene Ingersoll once said, "A great man does not seek applause or place. He seeks for truth. He seeks the road to happiness, and what he ascertains, he gives to others." The Eastwood learning community has had the privilege of being represented by a man of such great character and immense dedication to community service. Within his first year on the board, Mr. Dwyer has been behind us, providing nothing but support for all of our endeavors.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Moreno, and I am the proud Vice President for Eastwood High School. The enormous amount of gratitude that our entire feeder pattern feels for Mr. Dwyer can never truly be expressed. However, we're proud to present with him a small token of appreciation tonight. Mr. Dwyer, thank you so much for all you have done for troopers of the past, present, and future in our community.
Let's hear it again for the troopers. Next, we will honor the Area 2 trustee for the Bel Air area, Mrs. Connie Woodruff. Would you please step forward? Our speakers are Bel Air High School Student Council President Kate Padilla and Young Women's Leadership Academy Senior Class President Caitlin Munoz. They are accompanied by Valle Verde Early College High School Student Body President Stephanie Kyo and Bel Air Middle School student Stephanie Arellano, along with Loma Terrace Elementary student Melina Rivas.
Good evening. My name is Kate Padilla. As we prepared to recognize these dedicated individuals, I came across a quote by Professor Hazrat Khan that is fitting of our trustee, Mrs. Connie Woodruff. Some people look for a beautiful place. Others make a place beautiful. In the years that she has represented the Bel Air community, our schools have become beautiful places under her guidance and endless support. There is no greater advocate for what we do and what we stand for, and we can always count on her encouragement. Mrs. Woodruff, we are privileged to call you our board member, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Caitlin Munoz, and I would like to take this opportunity to honor and recognize our trustee, Mrs. Connie Woodruff, for her dedication, love, and support to the Bel Air community. Thank you for representing our area with your positivity, pride, and encouragement. On behalf of every Transformer at the Young Women's Leadership Academy, we thank you for your unwavering support and effort to recognize the great talent and success of our student body. Thank you.
Let's hear it again for the Highlanders. Next, we have our board secretary and Area 7 trustee for the Del Valle area, Ms. Catherine Lucero. Unfortunately, Trustee Lucero was unable to attend tonight's meeting, but here to honor her service is Del Valle High School Student Council President Yahir Ronquillo Ojeda and President-elect Stephanie Hernandez. They are accompanied by Del Valle Middle School student Dylan Samaniego and Mission Valley Elementary School student Miranda Huareque.
Good evening. My name is Yair Ronquillo. What an honor it is to be here to recognize the accomplishments of our astounding Board of Trustees. Congratulations and thank you, Ms. Catherine R. Lucero, our Del Valle Area Trustee and Board Secretary, for her hard work and dedication to the district.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Hernandez. Through the leadership of the school board, our students have empowered to excel in academics, athletics, fine arts, and make a name for ourselves throughout the state of Texas. I will one day graduate from the finest district across the region, and for that, I am blessed to have been a part of this something unique. Thank you again, Ms. Lucero and the entire Board of Trustees. Because of you, I am here today, sharing this great honor. And as always, one family, one destiny.
Let's hear it again for the Conquistadores. Next, we have our board president and Area 5 trustee from the Hanks area. Here to represent Hanks High School is Student Council Spirit Director and Senior Class Vice President Abel Sanchez. He is accompanied by Hanks Middle School student Julieta Rodriguez and Ariel Washington International School student Natalie Ray Hernandez.
Good evening. My name is Abel Sanchez. It is an honor to recognize the efforts of Board President and Representative of the Hanks area, Mr. Cruz Ochoa. Through his support and guidance, we have managed to become not only an A-rated district, but the highest performing feeder pattern, the Kingdom of Champions. Mr. Ochoa is the greatest advocate for our students, teachers, and administrators. By enrolling his children and grandchildren in the Hanks area, he has entrusted our teachers and leaders to instill the attributes we value most as Knights: perseverance, ambition, and wisdom. Mr. Ochoa has continuously supported the community by attending sporting events and meetings throughout the kingdom and the district. His servant leadership is a knightly virtue that we admire. We appreciate all he does for our current and future Knights, and as we say at the Kingdom of Champions, Mr. Ochoa, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Let's hear it again for the Knights. Next, we have our Board Vice President and Area 1 Trustee from the Riverside area. Mr. Charlie Bustillos, will you please step forward? Here to represent Riverside High School are co-student body presidents Sofia Bustillos and Dulce Maria Ramirez. They are accompanied by Riverside Middle School student Lucas Estrada and Ramona STEM Academy student Matthew Corona.
Mr. Bustillos, or shall I say Dad, I am so proud of you. Words can't even describe it. That's why it is my pleasure to stand before you as we recognize and honor and the entire Ysleta Independent School District Board of Trustees. Your devotion to the district and your passion to education is evident for everything that you do. Your hard work and the love you have for the Riverside community is special to many students, teachers, faculty, and staff. It is because of this that you are one of the best advocates for our students, teachers, and our administrators.
Good evening. My name is Dulce Maria Ramirez. Mr. Bustillos, you have been trusting the teachers and leaders of this great learning community since you grew up in the Riverside area. You attended Cedar Grove, now known as Riverside Elementary, and Riverside Middle School, and graduated from Riverside High School in 1994. You further proved your devotion by enrolling your children at Riverside High School. We appreciate your unconditional love and the selfless way you give up your time to help improve our community. Your support is a reason why we stampede towards success, and it's also the reason why we say we were Riverside then, we are Riverside now, and we will always be Riverside forever.
Let's hear it again for the Rangers. Next, we have the Area 6 trustee representing the Ysleta area. Mr. Chris Hernandez, will you please step forward? Representing Ysleta High School, we have Student Body President Elvira Fuentes and Student Council Parliamentarian Fernanda Molina. They are accompanied by Ysleta Middle School student Devine Rodriguez and Presa Elementary School student Genesis Garcia.
Good evening. My name is Elvira Fuentes. It is always a great day to be an Indian. Ysleta's spirit of excellence is evident in our teachers, students, and staff who work tirelessly to ensure that future generations get to experience a legacy of pride and excellence. It is leaders like Mr. Chris Hernandez who create legacies by always looking for ways to provide our Indians, past, present, and future, with the best educational experience possible. Mr. Hernandez, we thank you.
Hello, my name is Fernanda Molina. Mr. Hernandez, thank you for attending numerous school events throughout our community, for visiting our campuses, and for taking the time to recognize staff at all levels with enthusiasm and a contagious smile. Thank you for continuing to share our vision of excellence, and we look forward to your continued service in our community. Once an Indian, always an Indian.
Let's hear it again for the Indians. Our final recognition tonight is for Area 3 trustee from the Parkland area. Mr. Shane Haggerty, will you please step forward? Representing Parkland High School are Student Council President Damian Castro and Vice President Natalie Ibarra. They are accompanied by Parkland Pre-Engineering Middle School student Anaciel de la Peña and Dauphin Terrace Elementary School student Genesis Wells.
Good evening. My name is Damon Castro. Tonight, we honor the work of our entire Board of Trustees and their dedication to the stakeholders at YISD and the students. For us in particular, we owe a great deal of thanks to our Parkland area trustee, Mr. Shane Haggerty. Mr. Haggerty loves Northeast El Paso and never fails to represent our feeder pattern with pride while serving on the board. We and the Matador community truly thank you for your efforts.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Ibarra. Through your efforts, Mr. Haggerty, our Northeast feeder pattern has seen improvements in campus, facilities, safety, athletics, and academics. You truly embody the saying, "To be a Matador is glorious." Thank you for your support and everything you do for the park. On behalf of our administration, community, staff, and students.
Let's hear it again for the Matadors. Let's give another big round of applause for our wonderful Board of Trustees. Your service is greatly appreciated. This concludes our recognitions for this evening. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Mathewson, do we have citizens input this evening? Ms. Mathewson, do we have citizens input this evening?
No, President Ochoa, we don't.
Thank you. Dr. De La Torre, do we have any presentations this evening?
Yes, President Ochoa, we have one presentation this evening. I'd like to ask Mr. David Solis to come forward. We're going to begin our budget development process and timeline. relative to the 2024-25 budget. Comptroller David Solis.
Good evening, Board President Ochoa, members of the board, and Dr. De La Torre. This evening, we will be sharing with you the budget development process and timeline for the upcoming 24-25 fiscal year. When we think of budgeting, we often think of it as something that we do once a year. However, the budgeting process is a year-round process as we plan and prepare for the adoption of the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. We are implementing, monitoring, and evaluating our current year's budget so that we can make strategic decisions for the upcoming fiscal year. As you can see, we have already started the budget development process. We anticipate that our enrollment will decline by 1,000 students and have spent a couple of weeks in the month of December meeting with campus administrators to discuss their staffing for the upcoming school year based upon our anticipated decline in enrollment. Over the next 4 to 5 months, we will be sharing and providing with you revenue projections, staffing projections that will include discussions on compensation for the upcoming year, changes to stipends, and any changes to contributions to the district's medical benefits. Additionally, we will review the campus and department allocations. And lastly, as we will compile the information and prepare and draft a budget for your review and consideration for adoption. This is a very fluid process. As we know, the state legislature has not provided additional funding for public education during this extended legislative session. We remain optimistic that additional funding will be provided for not only this year, but also the upcoming years. As we learn more in the upcoming months, we will keep you all updated and provide updated projections as necessary. Since the beginning of our fiscal year is July 1st, we are required to adopt a budget by June 30th. However, we do not receive our certified values from the Central Appraisal District until July. For this reason, this is why we adopt a budget first and adopt or set a tax rate in August. The next couple of slides identifies the goals that have been set for our district. Goal number 1, our future, has to do with our students and their performance and success. Goal number 2, our people, has to do with recruiting, retaining, and hiring the best qualified employees for our district. Goal 3, our investment, is our commitment to being fiscally responsible for the use of district resources. So in this slide, it is Goal 1. It does identify the targets for 2025 for Goal 1. Goal 2, and the 2025 targets. And lastly, Goal 3 and its targets for 2025. This slide provides you with the various sources of revenue for our operating fund. The majority, or about 74% of our district revenue, comes from the state through its foundation school program. About a fifth, or 20%, comes from our taxpayers, and 5% comes from other sources that we primarily receive from federal program revenues. So when it comes to property values, we receive preliminary values from the Central Appraisal District in April, with final certified property values provided in July. There is an inverse relationship between property values and state aid, meaning as property values or our local share of revenue increases, our state aid decreases. And this was a change several legislative cycles ago. Our foundation payments, which I will discuss in a later slide, are based on current year property values. Looking at this slide, in the last 10 years, property values have increased by $1.2 billion, or 20% since tax year 2014. This past November, voters approved a constitutional amendment to increase the state-provided homestead exemption from $40,000 to $100,000. In addition to the state-provided exemption, our district provides its residents with a 20% local homestead exemption. Any resident that receives the state homestead exemption automatically receives the district's local homestead exemption. This slide provides a 10-year historical on tax rates. So during the 86th legislative session, the passage of House Bill 3, or HB 3, required the compression of school districts' maintenance and operations, or M&O tax rates, as a way to create a long-term systemic balance between the state and local share of district foundation funding, and to significantly reduce the growth rate of property taxes and reliance on recapture as a method of finance for the state. State compression is based on the controller's estimates of statewide property value growth each legislative session. Since fiscal year 1920, which was the first year of the tax compression, the district's M&O tax rate has been compressed or reduced from $1.17 to just a little bit under 83 cents. During this time, there was an increase in the district's interest in sinking, or INS debt service rate, resulting from the 2022 bond issuance. However, you as a board have also reduced the tax rate the last 2 years, which reflects your commitment as board members to reduce the district's property tax rate when possible. Now we move to our state funding, which is primarily derived from the Foundation School Program. Foundation program revenue can be broken down into 3 categories. Tier 1, or the district's foundation entitlement, is student-driven. This is the revenue that we receive from the state for the various student populations that we serve. This is the part of state revenue that is affected by our student attendance. This is why there is such a focus on student attendance. Tier 2, or the district's enrichment entitlement, is based upon the district's tax effort. Earlier, I spoke about an inverse relationship between property values and state aid. This is the portion of our foundation program that is affected by property values and our tax rate. Facilities funding is the funding that is provided by the state to support the school district's eligible bonded debt payments or lease purchase agreement payments. Oops. We are and have been a district of declining enrollment. Prior to the pandemic, the district's average loss in enrollment was about 400 students per year. Since the pandemic, the district has experienced an average loss in enrollment of about 1,300 students per year. In the 6 years prior to the pandemic, from fiscal year 14-15 to 19-20, the district loss in enrollment was about 2,000 students. In the last 4 years, the loss in enrollment has been about 5,500 students, and we anticipate that we will decline by another 1,000 students in the upcoming school year. One way to offset the loss in enrollment would be to increase our average daily attendance percentage from the previous year.
While we're waiting for the slides to come back up, I have one question that came up right at the beginning.
Sure.
When you project the enrollment for this coming school year, what are the factors that are impact that projection?
We typically look at historical trends to forecast the average loss per year for each campus. So we look at each campus and we look at their average loss per year.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but what is impacting that average loss per year? I know that there's a trend, but what are the real concrete factors that are causing this projection as an average?
I think there's a couple of factors. It's things that Dr. Latorre discussed during the state of the district, such as our being geographically landlocked for our position. There's not a lot of residential in terms of inventory within the district, which kind of limits the amount of students that can enroll or that we can bring into the district. So that has attributed to some of that enrollment loss. The pandemic has had some impact, whether it's families electing to move out of the city for other employment opportunities. So there's different factors. It's not just one that we can just pinpoint and say, this is the reason why our enrollment has declined. As you can see, prior to it was about 400 students. The pandemic, we lost right off the bat 2,000. Everybody expected to get those students back right after we were able to come back. but that enrollment has continued to decrease by 1,000 students, and we just haven't been able to pinpoint exactly what it might be. And it's not just us, it's regionally, every district is experiencing enrollment loss.
So, just to understand this, let's say this coming year, we have so many kids attending pre-K. Now, this will, if they stay with the district, this will follow through all the way until they graduate. When you look at the first few, pre-K, first grade, or even second grade, you take those students and try to make a projection. Will they graduate here in Ysleta, or will they, based on previous data, will they stay? Or will they, how many of these will drop out because the parents will move out of the district, like you say, or because the enrollment will decline because of the community population is getting up there in the years, so there's no more students, young students coming to the schools. Is that to the level that this is looked at?
So we do look at the matriculation between the different cohorts, and so we are able to see as students are moving as cohorts throughout the process, and we are able to identify at some point where we might be seeing some of that enrollment loss. We do take that into consideration.
Okay, I mean, that gives me more confidence in the data that you are accumulating for this. Cohorts are as we speak, students at certain time, then they move on to different levels in our schools. So that, I think, is that's what I was getting at. I mean, not just averages, because averages are misleading to me anyway. I just wanted to know what is the foundation of all this projections, and I think you provided that answer. Okay, we're back. Okay.
So there have been several special legislative sessions called by Governor Abbott. However, each has ended without the legislature taking action. We are expecting that a special session will be called sometime at the end of this month or at the beginning of February. Some of the pending items include increases to the basic allotment, increases or changes to other allotments such as CT or SPED, funding for teacher pay raises, increases to the school safety allotment, and decisions relating to school choice, vouchers, and educational savings plans. The majority of funding from other sources comes from indirect cost revenue from our federal programs and revenue that is generated for providing Medicaid-eligible services that are reimbursed to the district as part of the School Health and Related Services Program, or SHARS. We've shared this slide during the last budget presentation, so we are in the last year of ESSER. This funding source will go away at the end of this fiscal year, and there's no additional funding that will be available for the upcoming fiscal year, so I just thought I'd mention that. And with that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Before we go on, the ESSER funds, so they've been pretty much depleted?
They have.
Or not depleted, they've been
used.
It.
Correct.
We used them, yes. Okay.
Quick question, Mr. Solis. Going back to the first question that President Ochoa said, are you able to see, say, for example, my kids that are part of our feeder pattern, were you able to see our kids that are going to, say, that traditionally they go to either one of the campuses in the area, are you able to see them go if they go to a charter school or anything like that? Are you able to see that?
So recently, through the help of Dr. Medellin, we have been able to gather that data, and we do have dashboards that are currently letting us know where students are going, whether they're leaving, say, the Riverside feeder pattern to go into another Ysleta feeder pattern, or if they're going to another school district, maybe another charter school, or if they're just completely leaving our city. So we are able to see that. And we had that discussion at a recent attendance committee meeting, and Dr. Medellin did put that dashboard together for us.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't have a question right now, but I do want to acknowledge how wonderful it is that it's January and we're already starting to look at the budget. I think that's very important. So, Mr. Solis, I want to thank you for giving this presentation. Ms. Leeper, thank you for all the work, and everybody that's involved in putting this presentation together, these workshops together. I feel great that I'm going to have the time to really look at it, and have some questions. And I look forward to the answers that I get back that I could share with my community about, what's happening with our, our tax dollars and all our revenue that's happening, and make sure that we're being fiscally responsible. And from what I've seen, I really think we are. So I just wanted to thank you and everybody involved in getting this workshop together, and look forward to it in the next months.
No other questions? Thank you, Mr. Solis.
You're welcome.
We will now discuss agenda items as listed in the posted notice of the regular meeting of the Ysleta ISD Board of Trustees for January 17, 2024, and related recommended motions with the superintendent and executive cabinet, and receive responses to questions and/or requests for additional information through the superintendent in preparation for deliberation and action on said items at the January 17, 2024 regular Board of Trustees meeting. Please stop me if you have any questions or wish to pull an item for separate consideration. Consent item number 1, minutes of the Board of Trustees, regular meeting, December 13, 2023, 6 p.m. Consent item number 2, monthly financials update for November 2023. Consent item number 3, accept a donation to the Hanks High School football team. I would like to pull this consent item, please. Okay, now moving to the action items. Action item number 1, application update for district class size waiver. Action item number 2, consider approval of land lease agreement with Verizon Wireless for cell antenna tower at Eastwood Knolls International School.
I have a question about that. I was wondering, because it sounds like it's going to be a win-win for everyone, but I was wondering, is there anything that we should be concerned about as far as the students being close to? Yes.
You got to put your mic on.
Well, let me finish and then you can go, if that's okay. I just wanted to make sure that there's no, if there's anything that we need to worry about as far as student health and the positioning of this tower, so.
Before you answer that, I did some research on that, being that's a little bit of my background on the RF energy that is that's emitted by these antennas and to and fro. It seems to be minimal impact or no impact at all, but I think that we should look into this a little bit further, just to make sure that this is the safety factor that we're looking for to place such an antenna on our schools where our students are going to be there every day. So,
okay, I have discussion on this matter at Eastwood Knolls. Go ahead. I'm going to let you have copies of 2 articles while they're passing them out. This is in regards to Eastwood Knolls. Yesterday, I met with Mr. Robledo. He's the principal at Eastwood Knolls. I asked him some questions. I wanted to know the total enrollment at Eastwood Knolls, 807 students. There's 65 teachers, 3 administrators, and 22 staff personnel. I asked him, Eastwood Knolls is a 9-year school. They start in kindergarten and go through 8th grade. Therefore, these children will be on campus for 9 years. I asked him what percentage of the students that start in kindergarten go the whole 9 years. He said between 75 and 80% of the students go all 9 years. The next question I asked him was, how many, have the parents in the Eastwood Knolls area and community been informed about this tower that will be going up at Eastwood Knolls? His answer was no. I asked him if there was a communication between central office, Eastwood Knolls. Eastwood Knolls has a newspaper, comes out once a month. It's called the Weekly Dragon. He said no. So therefore, the parents, teachers, community around Eastwood Knolls knows nothing about this. One of Mr. Robledo's concerns was if something goes wrong with this tower and it has to be repaired, there's going to be complaints from the neighbors across the street, and then that's going to associate the problem with Eastwood Knolls. Next, I asked Mrs. Leeper what type of tower this was going to be. Mrs. Leeper, is it a 5G?
It actually serves 3 through 5G now, and eventually will serve 6G, 3G, when 3G is eliminated.
Okay. And we got the dimensions of the tower, right?
Yes, sir. 65 feet tall, and each side of the triangle is 14 feet wide.
All right, and do we know the buffer zone between this tower and the building? I believe the building is going to house the middle school student. There's 300 of them.
I don't know how many students.
Is it 500 meters?
I'm looking at the drawing that's within their package, and I see their setback, but I am not seeing the buffer around it.
Could we estimate maybe 10 feet from the building, 10 meters at most?
I think that's fair, and I'll
Okay.
look at this drawing to see if I can pull up that.
And then I asked you, have any of these towers been placed at other public schools in the El Paso area? Anthony, Cañutillo, El Paso, Ysleta, Socorro, Clint, Fabens, or Tornillo? There have been towers placed at schools?
No, you asked me about it. I did ask Verizon, and they couldn't answer about the other districts off the top of their head. They said they did think they had some in the other districts.
But they just didn't know.
Wouldn't commit, yes.
Have any of these towers been placed at El Paso City Parks?
No, their answer was that the city, and they provided the response from the city, that the city would not lease public park land. And they actually considered the park first.
Okay, and I did ask you, will there be a representative from Verizon to give a presentation to this school board?
And on such short notice, I could not get her, but she did agree that if we would give her notice, she would come in person and present, or she could do it by Zoom on very short notice.
Okay. I'd like to point out this handout is from Berkeley. Cell phone radiation is harmful, but if you want to believe it, we're going to just take a minute on this. This handout is basically on cell phones, but there's 2 pages I would like for you to look at. The first one is page 4. It says, why did the government stop funding this kind of research? The telecommunication industry has almost complete control of the FCC. Skipping a line, there's a revolving door between the membership of the FCC and high-level people within the telecom industry that's been going on for a couple of decades now. The next paragraph, the industry spends about $100 million a year lobbying Congress. The CTIA, which is a major lobbying group, spends $12.5 million per year on 70 lobbyists. Skipping down to the bottom, the industry as a whole, of that paragraph, the industry as a whole spends $132 million a year on lobbying and provides $18 million in political contributions to members of Congress and others at the federal level. I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. Going on to the next handout, it says, this is from Physicians for Safe Technology. Physicians for Safe Technology, cell tower radiation, health effects. The first page I'd like you to look at is page 3. Was it page 3, Michael? On page 3, it talks about cell towers rising, that they're just putting more and more of them up all over the country. And then I need you to go to page 5. Of course, you can read this on your own, but I don't want to read the whole thing. At the bottom, it says FCC's failure to reevaluate safety standards. Scientists have called for a 5G moratorium due to safety concerns and reports of 5G cell tower harm. Page 8. On page 8, it says health symptoms reported near cell towers: headaches, insomnia, dizziness, irritability, fatigue, heart palpitations, nausea, loss of appetite, feeling of discomfort, loss of libido, poor concentration, memory loss, and problems such as depression. Just to list a few. The next page would be page 10. As a district, we want our teachers working as hard as possible. We want our students working as hard as possible. We want our administrators working as hard as possible in order that our students excel on end of the course exams. This says school cell tower study in 2018 study shows cognitive decline in students. The ages were 13 through 16. I hope when you get some time, you can read the entire article. I know there's probably another 100 articles out there that list the health hazards of these towers, but I also know there's probably a bunch of articles out there that say that these towers are perfectly safe. I cannot and will not risk or take the chance that one single student at Eastwood Knolls will be affected in a negative way by this tower being placed 10 feet from the middle school building. We all have, as trustees, we have to guard and protect the health and well-being of all 36,183 students and 6,593 employees in this district. Therefore, I will be voting no on this action item. Thank you, Mr. Ochoa, for allowing me to speak. Thank you, trustees.
Certainly. That's why we're all here. One good question, when that lady comes to present, I'd like to know the range of frequencies that are being used for this tower. Because this paper covers a lot of radio frequencies. I'm sure it's not a microwave tower. It's just a cell tower. So if you could provide some of the ranges there, that way we can get some of the information based on those frequencies as how they impact and at the molecular level of our bodies. That's what's really causes all this concern. So that's it for me. Yes, sir.
I did want to make a comment just because I do appreciate all the time and effort you spend on this. I always take student safety before anything else, but a lot of the stuff just isn't true. 5G technology, 3G technology, 4G technology, it all puts out non-ionizing radiation, which is the same type of radiation as visible light, as FM radio, as heat. It doesn't cause cancer, it doesn't penetrate buildings, it doesn't do any of that stuff. As far as the government not funding wireless communication technologies, I did a quick Google search and found out that the Public Wireless Supply Chain Innovation Fund is $1.5 billion that will promote 5G plus technologies, advance the deployment of open and interoperable equipment for the next decade. So the government hasn't stopped funding it, and there isn't proof that this stuff is harmful. And as far as it not causing cancer, my resource is the American Cancer Society. Again, I take very seriously your commitment to the safety of our students, and I want the same, but I don't think this is a dangerous technology.
Well, I think we should wait for that presentation and then probably have more questions at that point in time, if that's okay.
Mr. President?
Oh, I'm sorry.
First of all, thank you, Trustee Dwyer, for providing this information. Thank you for taking the time to speak to your community members. You know, I know that has to be great concern, and they let their voices known to you, and that's what you're voicing here. I agree that we need to hear the representative from Verizon. And I think I'm going to make a motion, but before I do that, I'm very curious. First, let me say, no dollar amount is worth compromising the health of students, teachers, admins, or any community members that are going to be around this tower. But what is the annual rental fee that's being paid to the district?
$30,000 per year.
$30,000 per year? Yeah. I'm inclined to follow Trustee Dwyer with a no vote on this. But actually, the motion I want to make is to postpone the vote until we're able to get a representative. I'm sorry?
And Mr. Hernandez, Priscilla Mata, legal counsel for the
Yes, ma'am.
school district. You're still in the workshop, so once we get to the actual action item, you are free to make your motion.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, I think I would like to hear from the representative. I would also, I think Trustee Haggerty also made some valid points, and there's research to be done that I would like to do before taking this vote, so we'll get there at that time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we had a pretty good discussion on that, and when we come up to vote, then you'll make your motion. Okay, moving on, we have closed session where number one is pursuant of section 551.072 of the Texas Code, discussion regarding possible sale of district property, Del Norte Heights Elementary School, and other vacant district property. Number two is pursuant of section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with legal counsel regarding the Ysleta del Sur land claim demand letter. Okay. Coming back, we're out of the workshop. Now we go out to the consent item. The order of the agenda has been approved. May I have an electronic motion on the remaining consent agenda items listed on this agenda as recommended by the administration?
Mr. Ochoa? Which,
Sir?
which consent items are remaining? So
I
number
pulled
two-
number 2.
So
There
it's
was
just number one?
No, number 3. Number 3. So it's the consent item number 1 and number 2 are the remaining consent items.
I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong area. I thought the cell phone tower was in consent. I wanted to make sure it was pulled for a vote.
Okay, Ms. Woodruff?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the remaining consent agenda items listed on this agenda as recommended by administration.
It's moving around. Okay, we have a second by Mr. Hernandez. Please cast your electronic votes.
President Ochoa, we're going to have to reset that item. We have Mr. Charlie Bustillos as the mover.
Oh. Can we just restate the? Or,
It's fine with me if you wanted to just redo it and do the motion. It's fine with me.
we'll just let him read the motion.
Mr. President Ochoa, I move to approve the remaining consent agenda item listed on the agenda as recommended by administration.
Okay, we have a second by Mr. Hernandez. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast, 6 in favor and 1 no vote. Okay, we have consent item number 3. Accept the donation to move Hanks High School to the Hanks High School football team. I think we appreciate this. High school football is a very challenging sport. They have a lot of need for equipment and plus outfitting the students as well to protect them from any injury. But I really am grateful for the J.M. Hanks Football Boosters for providing this $5,000 for our football team for new uniforms. I think that always inspires our kids when they go out there with new uniforms. So on that, I move to approve the acceptance of a donation valued at $5,000 to benefit the Hanks High School football team. May I have a second? Ms. Woodruff, seconds. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. Results are 6 approve. Oh, and 1 is not here, so that's why it's. Sorry, I forgot about her. Okay, no, I didn't say that, okay? I didn't forget about her. Okay, moving on to I moved to the action items. We got, let's see, okay, we got that. Okay, action item number 1, application update for district class size waiver. Is there any discussion? No further discussion. May I have an electronic motion? Mr. Bustillos.
Mr. President, I move to approve the district update submission to the Texas Education Agency for class size waiver approved in August 2023 to allow certain pre-K 4th through 4th grade classes to exceed the ratio 22-1.
Okay, thank you. We have a second by Ms. Woodruff. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. The results are 5 in favor, 1 opposed. Action item number 2, consider approval of land lease agreement with Verizon Wireless for a cell antenna tower at Eastwood Knolls International School. Mr.
I just have one more thing to say on the subject of this. As far as $30,000 a year, that comes out to about 6 to 7 thousandths of a percent of our annual budget. So to lose that amount of money by not doing it, I don't see where it's going to affect our budget any.
And excuse me, sir, I'm sorry, it's 24,000 a year. I had to go back and look. The agreement was not in the contract. So the typical range is $1,500 to $3,500 a month. This would have been a $2,000 a month lease. And I will say that this starts the process for them to go to the city for zoning and a building permit. So there's a large public process that would follow your agreement if you happen to approve this. If not, then it stops that entire public process.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion to postpone action item number 2 until the next meeting or until we have a representative from Verizon Wireless to give a presentation.
Okay, we
Just, this person, the Verizon person will be here in person, right? If we can make sure it's not a Zoom, is that possible?
Yes, sir. So let me clarify also, this is a third-party negotiator who does the land work for Verizon. It's not actually a Verizon employee. Ms. Grice is with, let me see if I can find her title real quick.
I think we also need to think about, you don't want someone presenting to you who has an interest in having the cell tower.
Right.
What you want is a neutral third party who's not involved.
Can we get somebody from the University of Texas that would be willing to talk about this?
I'm certain we can try, sir.
Shane can help. His wife is
Well,
faculty at UTEP. There may be a professor over there who could
Yeah.
come and
And
address the board.
that's a valid point, that we have a neutral party that will be presenting alongside with Verizon. That would give us a better, well, I think he made a motion to postpone it till the next meeting.
I'm having a,
But he added on there until we get the Verizon,
And the neutral party.
so we need to add to that.
So we need 2 parties.
So we do have a motion on the floor. Was there a second to the motion? If there was no
Not yet.
second,
No
you
second.
can, before you second, you can actually
I
amend
second.
your
wait,
motion.
no.
Mr. Hernandez?
There is a second.
Was there already a second?
Yes.
but then everybody else can vote no, and then we can redo it.
So you have to technically vote on the motion because it's now on the floor. It's been seconded, excuse me. So if we can get a vote on this motion, you can certainly make a new motion, a second motion.
Okay,
And then also, just because I seconded it, doesn't mean I'm voting for it, even though it automatically comes as
that's
a
right.
yes.
That's
So-
correct, but it's formally on the floor now for vote.
Just to be clear, you made a motion to postpone until we got Verizon to come and present. That is what we're
that's
voting
the
on,
first
right?
motion.
And then Mr. Haggerty seconded,
Yes.
is that correct?
Correct?
So now, once we vote on this, can we come back and make an amendment to that?
Or second.
No, you
No,
will make
a
a
new
second.
motion.
If it fails, we
Second
can make a new
Make a
motion.
second motion? Okay.
Or we can make a second motion.
So we should vote no on this one?
No, vote.
Should I vote no? Oh my God.
And I think for clarification, what is it that we want to clarify in Mr. Hernandez's motion?
Postpone it until we have a representative from Verizon to come and speak to us in the next meeting.
But that's not what I'm hearing. So I'm hearing that we want someone from the university to speak on
That'll be the
this,
second.
like a subject matter expert to come and speak to the board? Okay.
That's correct.
Just
What was that,
postpone
Ms.
it to-
Woodruff?
I believe that would be the
second.
second motion after we do this one.
Okay,
And so the second motion would be just what you said.
okay. Not a Verizon representative.
No.
Okay.
So in other
Understood.
words, it should include both then.
We're just postponing,
Yeah, postponing
Just
until we
postpone
get both.
and we understand your interest.
Okay, we'll just postpone it till,
So, but what I'm hearing is that we want both the university subject matter expert and we want a representative from this third party who's attempting to negotiate this deal with.
so we don't have to make
Yes.
2 motions.
So then what I'm hearing is that for the second motion, you're going to want to postpone until a future board meeting during which both the university subject matter
And the
expert can
third
attend,
party.
as well as a representative from, and I'm not sure what the third
I
party,
think, I do too.
The board simply has to say is.
and a representative from Young
Bring it back
Designs.
until you have information.
Can we just say that? Can just, don't bring it back until we have the information that is required.
So let's take a vote on the motion on the
I
floor
already
and allow me to propose the language for the second motion.
But do we have to have a second motion? We're just postponing it for a future date.
I could vote no on my own motion, right? This is so we can do it all over again? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I don't think that the motion by Mr. Hernandez is going to capture what I'm now hearing. So let's
Correct.
go ahead and vote on Mr. Hernandez's motion, and then if there's a second motion,
I voted yes.
I'm happy to help with the language.
I already voted on that, and
Okay.
it sounds like we need to change it to a no vote now, so.
Can I?
Right, so if
Can we
if you
just
all
redo
vote
it?
no on Mr. Hernandez's motion, the motion dies.
Yeah, but.
And you can make
I've
a
already
second
voted.
motion.
I've already voted for
Okay.
it.
I already voted for it.
So the vote is yes for a motion to postpone for a meeting with the Verizon representative at this point,
Yes,
So,
and it's going to.
it's going to pass.
Okay, so then can we
Then we're going to do a
have,
second motion.
can you vote?
and it was a
Can you
unanimous
vote,
vote?
change it?
It was a unanimous?
We have,
Okay.
Or you can change it.
Not everyone's
Change.
Try
voted.
it.
We have one no from Mike Dwyer, so we can cancel or stop the vote and start again.
So if the no vote is from Mr. Dwyer, Mr.
Correct.
Dwyer, what I would recommend and suggest is that you make a motion to amend Mr. Hernandez's motion, and then we have everyone vote. Since you were the one no, you would technically have the conflict in amending
Okay.
that motion, so I need the motion to come from you.
All right, so we need to.
So it's going to be a motion,
A
sir?
motion?
And you can essentially, I'll read it into the record, and you can say, "I so move,"
Okay.
for
All right.
brevity. Okay, so your motion is to amend Mr. Hernandez's motion and to table this item to a future board meeting.
Not table. Table means to kill it.
That's
You
it.
can't, you don't need to table. It needs to be postponed. If it's tabled, that means that we have to consider it in this meeting.
No. If it's tabled to a future date, it means that you will reconsider this item when it comes back to the board.
That's not what it means.
I don't think so. That's not,
Well, it-
can we just say postponed and keep it like that?
it's got to be
No.
tabled.
So long as the intent is the same. So
What's the
long as the
difference?
intent is the
What's the
same.
difference between postponing and tabling, as far as you understand?
It's
Tabling kills it.
Robert's Rules of Order, tabling an item is tabling it to a future date, if that's what you say. Now, if you don't say that you're moving it to another meeting, implied in that is possibly that you're going to take it up at a later time during this same board meeting. So for clarity, and I'm happy to accept your language, Ms. Woodruff. So for clarity, it would be a motion to amend Mr. Hernandez's motion to move this item and postpone it to a future board meeting at during a time during which both a subject matter expert and a representative from Young Design can participate and provide a presentation to this board.
I so move.
Thank you. Is there a second, Mr. Ochoa?
I
Do you want
second.
Okay. The board is entitled to vote now?
Please cast your electronic votes on the mover. Nope, I'm not a mover. Mike Dwyer is the mover, I second. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. The results are 6 in favor, none opposed. Okay, put this one to rest. All right.
So-
Okay, now we'll pursuant to section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code, discussion regarding the possible sale of district property, Del Norte Heights Elementary School, and other vacant district property. And item number 2 is pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with legal counsel regarding Ysleta del Sur land claim demand letter. The Board of Trustees has determined that a closed session of the Board of Trustees is required to discuss the items set forth in the posted agenda for this date. Such closed meeting is authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551.001, including but not limited to the sections and purposes covered by the following section of the Texas Government Code, 551.071, 72, 73, 74, 76, 82, 127, 821, 83, 84, 87, and 89. Should any final action, decision, or vote be required with regard to any matter considered in this closed session, the final action, decision, or vote shall be in open meeting or at a subsequent public meeting with notice. The board will now go into closed session at the Rio Grande Room at 7:17 p.m.
thank you anyway. Appreciate it.
We reconvene this meeting with Shane Haggerty, Chris Hernandez, Charlie Bustillos, Mike Dwyer, and myself, Cruz Ochoa.
She's coming.
Oh,
She's got the motion.
okay. And Ms. Connie Woodruff. She's about to join us. Can't be that. They're writing out the motion. I know, but it can't be that. Okay, number one is possible action to authorize negotiations and potential sale of district property Del Norte Heights Elementary School. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I make a motion to authorize administration to negotiate this potential sale of Del Norte Heights Elementary School, subject to review and approval of the proposed terms and conditions of the sale at a future board meeting.
We have a second by Mr. Shane Haggerty. Please cast your electronic votes. All votes have been cast. Results are 6 in favor, none opposed. Thank you. At this time, I think that's pretty much it. May we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Adjourn. Thank you.